Shalom, everyone, and welcome to this lesson. This is one of the first lesson that we're gonna have monthly every time we have one of the new Jewish or Hebrew calendar month starting every Rosh Chodesh or before every Rosh Chodesh, so we can know what kind of energy each of these month have and how we can tap that energy. So in this lesson, we're going to start with the month of Aries, which is called the month of Nissan, also known in the Torah as the month of Aviv. And we're gonna go over some important facts about this month, but also the energy behind this month. And something that we're gonna pay close attention is the 13 days of the month of Nissan. The 13 days of the month of Nissan. And these 13 days of the month of Nissan, which are the first 13 days of the month, are like seeds that we are planting for each of the months that are going to follow after Nissan. So these are little seeds that we're planting for each of the month of the rest of the year. And something that we need to clarify is that this is called the beginning of the year, just as the month of Tishrei, which is when we celebrate Rosh Hashanah. It's also called, the beginning of a year as well. And we're gonna talk about the difference between this beginning of the year in Nisan and the other beginning of the year in Tishrei. So let's start right away so we can start learning about this holiday in a very deep way and in a way that we can understand also where these energies come from. The first thing that we need to know is that Nisan is also known as Aviv in Hebrew. Aviv means spring in Hebrew, and Nisan is the month that marks the arrival of spring in the land of Israel. The name of Aviv therefore reflects the natural cycle of the seasons as well as the agricultural significance of this time of the year. And we're going to see how the holiday of Pesach and how other holidays are within the month of Nisan are actually part of this agricultural season. In ancient times, the arrival of spring and the beginning of the agricultural season were celebrated with religious festivals such as Passover, which is celebrated in the first month of Nisan. The name Aviv, therefore, a reminder of the importance of the natural world and the cycles of life that have shaped the Jewish tradition and a culture for thousands of years. Aviv in Kabbalah represents the potential for spiritual transformation and renewal that is available to individuals during this auspicious time of the year. Also, something to have in mind is that Aviv is composed of two words. These two words are the word Av, which is Aleph Bet, means father in English, and then the rest of the letters, which is the Yod and a Bet, they give us the number 12. So what this is telling us is that this month of Nisan, the month of Aviv, is the father of 12. What 12? 12 months of the years of the year. And we're gonna see how this actually plays into Jewish traditions, especially in Kabbalah. So where do we have this idea that the Hebrew month of Aviv is to be observed as the beginning of the year? This comes from Exodus 12:2, where it says, this month, Nisan or Aviv, will be counted by you as the first of the months. Nissan is it is a new year of the festival Pesach, Shavuot, and Sukkot, and these are three, basically it's called regalim, three kind of leg that support a table or a seat or something like that. You need three legs in order to support that, right? So it's you have a right and a left and the middle, and it's called regalim because these are the holidays in which especially the males were asked to go to Jerusalem and perform a sacrifice in the temple. The other one that we have is in Deuteronomy 16, first verse. Keep the month of Aviv, ripe grain. You are to observe Passover to Yohe and the Vavhe, your God, for the month of Aviv. Yohe Vavhe, your God, took you out of Egypt at night. Then Exodus 34, it says, 7 days thou shalt eat unleavened bread, as I commanded thee in the time of the month of Aviv. And this is where people get confused because it says Aviv is a month of the spring, right? But when the Jewish people, the Hebrew people, were taken into Babylon and they adopted different names for the Hebrew month, and that's where the month of Aviv became Nissan. Okay, so that's why we call it Nissan today, even though it was called Aviv at that time, or simply the month of spring. There's a video in which I talk about the Hebrew calendar and how the Hebrew calendar that we have today came to be. So I think it would be very good for you to watch that video so you can see what we're talking about here. Now, there are two holidays that are very important in the calendar, and these are the head of the years. There are two heads of the year. One is in the month of Tishrei, in which we celebrate the Rosh Hashanah, which is the head of the year. That's the name. Rosh means head, Hashanah means the year. But that Rosh Hashanah, which is in the month of Tishrei, is ahead of the year for creation. This is when creation, traditionally, we believe that creation started on that month. Now, when it comes to the month of Nissan, Aviv, it's a different kind of Rosh Hashanah because this head of the year is related to redemption. The month of Tishrei, the Rosh Hashanah, the what is called the Jewish New Year, which is celebrated around September, in the month of Tishrei, is related to the physical formation of the universe as we know it, including with all the quantum physics and all these particles that we're starting to discover recently and all that that has to do with Tishrei. Now, when it comes to the month of Nissan, that has to do with our freedom, with spirituality, freeing ourselves from that physical universe in which we are being put. But this is not because it's a bad place, right? It's a bad place if we're using it in an egoistic way, when we're here, thinking that the material world is all there is. It's just that when materialistic thoughts become our Egypt, and we are basically stagnant, spiritually stagnant, we need to move. And this is when we have a Pharaoh trying to push us to ask for redemption. And this is when our own Moshe, our own Savior, will come and help us do our own personal exodus. And this is what the month of Aviv is all about. It's about not celebrating only the freedom of the Hebrews from Egypt and from Pharaoh, but also our own exodus from our own internal Pharaoh, which is our ego. Okay? Now, what other days we celebrate inside the month of Nissan? What are the celebrations inside this month, we should say? First one is Rosh Chodesh, the first day, right? The new moon that marks the beginning of the year. So we have this in the first day of Nisan. And 13 days, counting from that first day, there are 13 days that we count, and we do certain meditations, and we're gonna go over them just as an overview, because we need to talk about the 13 days as why they're called the seeds of the whole year. Then after that, we have on the 13th day of Nisan the fast of the firstborn, which is done before Passover. Then on the 14th day, we have the evening of Passover. The 15th day is basically Pesach, Passover. Then on the 16th day, we start counting the Sefirat HaOmer, counting the Omer. And it's also known, which is not, they say it's, when you really look, it says, that it's not like celebrated anymore, because this is something that was done during temple times. The Yom HaBikurim, the day of the first fruits. Okay, so these are the days that are inside this month. This month has in it the seeds for the rest of the year, the seed for the rest of all the other months in this year. And the year has 12 months, but we use 13 days because there's a special meditation that we do on the 13th day, which is the day that we do, those of us who are the firstborn, we do our fast, right? So every day of the first 13 days of Nisan is a seed for the future corresponding month. We should put extra effort to be at our best so we can plant better seeds for the future month. And in Kabbalah, the 13 days of the month of Nisan are seen as an auspicious time for spiritual growth and transformation. Each day is associated with a specific aspect of the divine, and by meditating and focusing on these aspects, one can deepen their connection to God and bring positive energy into their lives. So this is, something that is special about this month. It's not a month about redemption. It's not a month about we're starting to count the next harvest or something like that, that's gonna come, in Shavuot, 50 days after the 16th. This is a month of miracles. This is a month in which we need to concentrate on ourselves and what we're going to be for the next year. This month is a special month, and we're gonna talk about it more in depth later. Now, for each month, there is what we call the DNA of the year. Each month has some kind of combinations of the name of God. Okay, in here, what we're gonna see, we're gonna use only the 4-letter name of God and its permutation, but you can meditate on the name Yohe and the Vav-He, the name Ehie, Adonai, and Adonai in a different kind of permutation for each month. So you can meditate all these names in each of the month. We're not gonna do that in this lesson, but as we start talking about each month, we're gonna implement these things, so make sure you are subscribing. Make sure that you put that little bell on the side, so when we have these new videos each month for each of the Rosh Chodesh, and how we explain these months one by one for the rest of the year. And this is based on Kabbalistic astrology, and we're gonna talk about Kabbalistic astrology as well this year in a special video. So let's continue with why we have 13 days, why we count to 13 days. It could be the 12 days, right? Count 12 days and that's it. Why we count 13? It's because 13 is very important. 13 is a gematria for Echad and Ahava. Echad is one and Ahava is love. 13 is the numerical value of the word had, right? Which means one and signifies the unity of God. This reflects the central Kabbalistic belief in the oneness of all things and the underlying unity of the universe. 13 is also associated with the 13 attributes of God, as described in the Torah in Exodus 34, which include compassion, kindness, and forgiveness. These attributes are considered fundamental to Kabbalistic spirituality and are often meditated upon by Kabbalists. In Kabbalistic numerology, 13 is the numerical value of the word ahava, which means love. Love is seen as the highest spiritual quality in Kabbalah, and the pursuit of love is a central theme in Kabbalistic teaching. That's why you're gonna see me and hear me as a broken record mentioning about love for others, love ourselves, love others, and love the Creator, right? Because you're gonna hear a lot about love your neighbor as yourself, but in order to love your neighbor as yourself, you gotta love yourself first, right? You gotta correct that relationship between you and yourself. And when you love yourself that way, in a special way, that's when you're gonna love your neighbor in a proper way. And in that way, you will be loving the Creator as well in a proper way. So, the 13 days of Nissan, according to Kabbalah, along with their associated aspects. So we're going to have that each month has a tribe of Israel and a zodiac sign that is assigned to each of the months. So Tishrei, which is in Rosh Hashanah, right? Rosh Hashanah, which is when we're celebrating the beginning of creation, we're going to see that it starts with Ephraim, and the zodiac sign is going to be Libra. Now, when you look at Nissan, which is Aviv, the tribe is going to be Judah, and the zodiac sign is going to be Aries, right? So keep in mind that each month also has, a planet associated to it, and this is very important. So it has a zodiac sign and also a planet. So you're gonna have also that each month, as you see here, each month the Hebrew calendar is associated with a Hebrew planet. Here are the planets associated with each month. Tishrei has Venus, Cheshvan Mars, Kislev Jupiter, Tevet Saturn, Shevat Mercury, Adar Venus, Nissan Mars, Iyar Mercury, Sivan Jupiter, Tamuz Moon, Av the Sun, Elul Mercury. And it is important to understand that what you see here, you might see it in another teaching from another Kabbalist, probably with one or two planets in a different way, because there are different versions out there. I will invite you to get, if it's possible, or borrow, Ari Kaplan's Sefer Yetzirah, and I think that's one of the best work of when it comes to the Sefer Yetzirah, and you're gonna see the different versions there as well, and how sometimes they differ from each other in just probably one planet, or probably just one attribute specific. But here we're using, the most common attributes, that are used out there. Also, each month, according to the Sefer Yetzirah, each month has a letter that is assigned to them. So you're gonna see that each month has a letter that is assigned to them, and this letter, for example, Nissan, it has the letter Gimel, and you're gonna say, but this letter doesn't match, what I see in the Sefer Yetzirah, and you might be correct, but this is, a different tradition. Just to give you an example here, that Nissan has Gimel, but in reality, when you look, it's the letter Hey, and for the planet, there's also a letter. It's gonna be the letter Dalet, and we're gonna see that. This is just to give you an example of how each letter also can be attributed, to each of the month in a different arrangement. But what we're gonna do is we're going to look at these attributions here. According to Kabbalah, each of the 7 traditional planets associated with a Hebrew letter. here are the letters associated with each planet, and this is, different attribution, not related to the Sefer Yetzirah. When you really look, Mars has the mem, right? But when we look at further, we're gonna see that according to the Sefer Yetzirah, it's not that letter, it's gonna be the Dalet. Just to give you another example of how we're gonna see different traditions giving us different letters. I know that's probably is gonna confuse you, but if you feel confused, forget about those letters that I show you, just to show you different traditions. Follow what the Sefer Yetzirah says. Sefer Yetzirah has attributed certain letters to the zodiac signs and also to the planets, and those are the ones that we're gonna follow here from now on. Now, for each month and each of the 13 first days of Nissan, we're gonna do some meditations, and each meditation is gonna help us tap to the power of each of the months of this year. Why do we need to meditate? Well, we don't just learn about this and that's it, we're done, right? The thing is that meditation is very important. Meditation helps you basically get or tune to the right channel, tune to the right vibrations. Meditation has psychological benefits such as reducing stress and anxiety, improves mood, focus, attention, and self-awareness. It can also increase feelings of compassion and empathy towards others, which leads to greater well-being and better mental health. So we're not only gonna use meditation to connect to the different forces, connect to the light that is revealed in each of these months ahead of us, but we're gonna use the meditation in a way that as we connect, it's gonna help us especially have these great feelings of well-being, better mental health, and this love for ourselves and others, and be aware that we're here for a reason with a purpose, right? Now, there are some instructions about the meditation that we're gonna do for each month. And the meditation instructions are the following. You're gonna meditate on the permutation of the Yod-He and the Vav-He. Then you're gonna meditate on the name associated for the month coming from the Ana Bekoach. Then you're gonna be meditating on the letters associated with the zodiac sign and the planet. This is according to the Sefer Yetzirah, right? The 6 names from the 72 main names of God associated with the month, and the Nasi, which is the donation of each tribe from Israel that was performed by each of the leaders. The Nasi, which are the prince of each of these tribes of Israel. So that's basically the meditation. So one of the prayers that we're gonna actually make before we do this meditation is, maybe your will, Lord, my God, God of my fathers, that if I, your servant, am from the tribe of, and you mentioned the tribe, whose section of the Nasi I have read today in your Torah, may all the holy sparks and holy illuminations that are included within the holiness of this tribe shine upon me, to grant me understanding and intelligence in your Torah, and my all of you, to do your will all the days of my life. So this is the prayer that you're gonna be doing, and you can do it in Hebrew, and do the Yehi Ratzon, Melifanecha Adonai El Chai, El Chai Abotenu, and then do the whole thing in Hebrew if you understand the Hebrew. But when we talk about prayer, if you can do it in the language that you can connect better, it might be English or Spanish, it doesn't matter. As long as you can connect with what your intention is in this meditation, it is good. But if you can do the Hebrew and then the translation in your language, that would be great as well. So let's go and see each of the months and their attributes. So like we mentioned before, remember, we're going to meditate on each of these attributes. So the month of Nissan. The month of Nissan belongs to the tribe Yehuda. The name of God that is or the permutation of the name of God is basically the Yod He and the Vav He, as it is shown here. Let me see if I can have some kind of pointer. Okay, looks like I don't have a pointer, but okay, Nissan. So the Nissan, it's it's the first month, like we mentioned, for the harvest. But what kind of harvest are we talking about? In ancient times, we're talking about harvesting the land, right? Planting seeds in the ground so they can then count 50 days, and in Shavuot, they will pick, the fruits of that harvest. Here, we're counting the Omer in this month, but we're counting also 13 days before we start Passover, and it's because we're planting spiritual seeds for each month. And this is the importance of this month. This month is associated with the tribe of Yehuda, and Yehuda is associated with Yehud, right? With connection, and Yahuda also means, like praising Yah and things like that. So this is also a month of miracles. In Hebrew, the name of the month of Aries is Taleh, and it signifies the rebirth of nature. And we, like we mentioned before, Nisan was known as Aviv, and Aviv consists of Av, means father, and If, which means 12, which is father of 12. 12 what? 12 months of the year. The sign of Aries is ruled by the planet of Mars. In Hebrew, this planet is called Ma'adim. Ma'adim, when you look at the word Ma'adim, it has Adim. Adim comes from Adom. Adom means red, right? Adam also comes from with dom, blood. Also Adam, which means, Adam means Elohim, and dom, so it's God in the blood. Also comes from the word dome. Dome means like the creator. So this is the moment in which we need to transform ourselves. This is a proper month to start transforming ourselves in order to become like the creator. Okay, it's a very important month to tap into this gate that is opening ahead of us. Now, it is said that this month has a power of the element fire. And fire signifies the left column, and which means, judgment, din. But when you look, Aries represents the right column of fire. So there's the sweetness in this judgment, right? It's justice that is sweet. It's justice that has to do, with apply the proper way, right? And this is why we're gonna see that this month in the story of Exodus, the injustice of Pharaoh was met with the justice of the Creator liberating the Hebrews from Egypt, and even before the time that they were supposed to be there, they were supposed to be there for a longer time. This month is a month of freedom. It's a month in which we need to free ourselves from our egoistic nature, from our own personal Pharaoh. This is a month that we need to make sure that we understand that we need to start protecting ourselves. There's two things here. We had the fasting of the firstborn in order to celebrate, when we were spared from the angel of death in Egypt, when we mark the doorpost of our doors, with the blood, the dam of the lamb, and also that we need to celebrate our own personal freedom from our own personal pharaoh and our own personal egoistic nature, which has to do with the inner Satan in our being, this force that doesn't want us to advance, doesn't want us to get ahead in life and find this holy land that we must reach. And this month is a month that will help us cross over to the other side of a interesting, enough, cross over the Yam Suf, the Sea of Reeds. Interesting enough, you're gonna see that this is translated as the Red Sea, so for some reason they say the Red Sea, so it's a dam, right? Red. Now, let's go and continue talking about the next month, so we can know, what the 13 days, attributed to the first 13 days of Nissan are about. But this is just, about the month of Nissan, what it is all about. So that when you're meditating on the first day and Rosh Chodesh, you're gonna meditate on the name of God, the permutation. You're gonna meditate on the Anabekoa, the name of Anabekoa, and then you're gonna meditate on the letters of the month, okay? And then you're gonna meditate on this and the section, which actually, each month has 6 names attributed to them. So this is a section for Aries, the ram, right? And you're gonna meditate on each of these names. And when you meditate on each of these names, basically scanning them and thinking about the meaning of each of these names, and also concentrate on what is the meaning behind this month, which is Chesed of Chesed. It's a day associated with the divine attribute of kindness, and it is time to cultivate feelings of love and compassion towards oneself and others. So this is a month, that has a lot of mercy in it, right? It's the mercy of the Creator. It has to do with speech. Why speech? The reason it has to do with speech is because in this day we are saying that we're free. We're free to talk about the exodus from Egypt. We're free to express ourselves and talk about it. We're no longer in Egypt, in which we were not able to express ourselves or talk our mind, or do anything like that. And this is why speech is very important. Speech also is creative. Speech has a verb, right? Creates voice. So speech is very important because in speech you're including the sound and the voice, right? There's breath in there. There's air creating a sound and a form of words. So it's creating something. So this is something that we need to pay attention, because with speech we can create angels, but we can also create demons. We need to watch the way we talk. We need to watch the way we express ourselves towards the Creator and towards others, okay? So the next month is the month of Iyar. The month of Iyar is the month of Taurus. And in this month, the tribe is Issachar. The permutation of God is the Yod-He-He-Vav. The Anabekoach, as you can see here, this is where you're going to be meditating. And then, as you can see here, it has also, 6 names that are attributed to it from the 72 names of God. And this is Geburah of Chesed. This day is associated with the divine attribute of strength and discipline. and it is a time to set boundaries and overcome negative habits or patterns. Okay, and the midot, the what we need to, the attribute within ourselves, what we need to correct is thought or thoughts. Okay, and I didn't mention in the month of Nissan, but we're gonna meditate also in the Nasir. The Nasir for this month is Nachson ben Abinadav, and that's found in Bamidbar, which is Numbers, chapter 7, 1 to 17. The Nasir for Taurus is Nathaniel ben Tzuar, and this is on Numbers, chapter 7, the verse 18 to the 23rd. The next month, this will be that on the third day, we are going to meditate on the month of Sivan. As for the tribe of Zabulon, the permutation of course is going to be the Yod, the Vav, the He, and the He. We're going to meditate on the name found in the Ana Bekoach for that month, and the letters Resh and Zain. You're going to also meditate on the 72 names, the 6 of the 72 names associated to it. This month have to do with the Tifaret of Chesed. This day is associated with the divine attribute of beauty and balance, and it is a time to harmonize the different aspects of one's life and cultivate inner peace. And the attribute for this is motion. Okay, so motion is not necessarily moving ourselves. It's emotion, can be spiritual motion, can be physical motion, can be mental, right? It can be psychological, can be emotional motion. So we need to concentrate on this day and month on cultivating that and be aware of how we move in our outer and inner space. Is it with a purpose? What kind of purpose is that? Then we got the month of Tamuz, and this is the tribe of Reuben. The permutation of the name of God is He, Vav, He, Yod. You're gonna do the same thing. Ana Bekoach, concentrate on the 6 days, six names of God from the 72 names of God, and it belongs to the Nesach of Chesed. This day is associated with the divine attribute of victory and perseverance, and it is a time to overcome challenges and obstacles on the spiritual path, and it has to do with sight, seeing, right? Our eyes. It's through our eyes that we can feed ourselves as well. We can read a book, we can see a nice landscape, right? We can see the sunset, we can see beautiful things, but we can also with our eyes see things that we are not supposed to, that will actually poison our soul and all that. So this is why it is important, because the eyes actually, it has to do with light in the spiritual sense. It has to do with light. The Nasir for this month is gonna be Elizur ben Shedaur, and it's gonna be on Numbers chapter 7 verses 30 to the 35th. This is for the 4th day. The 5th day we have the month of Av. That's for the tribe of Shimon. Permutation of God is He, Vav, Yod, He. And you're gonna meditate after that on the name of God in the Ana Bekoach. Then the letters Kaf and Tet for Sun and the zodiac sign Leo. The 6 names from the 72 names of God. You're gonna meditate on the Nasir, which is Shelumiel ben Sirushadai from Bemidbar chapter 7 verses 36 to 41. And this is Hod of Chesed. This day is associated with the divine attribute of humility and surrender, and it is a time to let go of the ego and connect with the higher power. So the next month is gonna be the month of Elul for the tribe of Gad. Permutation is gonna be He, Vav, Yod. The month letters are gonna be Resh, Yod, and that's for Mercury and Virgo. And the Nasir is gonna be Elisaf ben Dewel from Numbers chapter 7 verses 42 to 47. This day and or seed for the month of Elul. It's Yesod of Chesed. These days associated with the divine attribute of foundation and connection, and it is a time to strengthen one's connection to the divine and the spiritual realm. And here we have motion, right? Now we have action. So we have action. This is something that you were thinking, your thoughts, right? Now become action, become reality. So what kind of actions are you taking in order to achieve what you want in life and spirituality? Elul this month has to do with Anile Dotive Dodili, which is I am my beloved and my beloved is mine. This is what Elul means. So this is action, the action to connect with the Creator, the action to connect with the light. And this is something that we're going to meditate on this month, this day, okay? Then we have the month of Tishrei, which is when we celebrate Rosh Hashanah, the creation of the world. And this is for the tribe of Ephraim. The name of God permutation is going to be Vav He Yod He. The month letters are going to be Pei for Venus and Lame for Libra. The Nasir is going to be Elishama ben Amihud from Numbers or Bemidbar chapter 7 verse 48 to verse 53. And it represents Mahut of Chesed, these days associated with the divine attribute of sovereignty and leadership, and it is a time to take responsibility for one's life and become a positive influence on others. And it has to do with cohesion. Okay, so this month it's very important because this month is the month in which we're celebrating our birthday. It's the birthday of the universe, the birthday of this environment that the creation has created for us in order to advance spiritually. So we say, that a person should think that a person should think that the Creator created this whole universe for the sake of the person, for the sake of oneself, and we're to use this universe in a proper way. And cohesion has to do with sexual energy, right? So in this day also is the birthday of Adam. In this month is the birthday of Adam. It's also the time when Adam met Hava, his counterpart, the female counterpart of Adam. And that has to do with female aspects of creation and male aspects of creation coming together and creating something new. And this is what we're gonna see in this month. Once we start meditating on this month, this is what it is all about: getting this sexual energy and transform it into creative energy that will help us advance spiritually by connecting the lower with the upper, the female with the male, right? Then we have the month of Cheshvan. This is from the tribe of Manasseh. The name of God is Vav He Yod. The letters for this month are going to be Dalet, which is Mars, and Nun for Scorpio. And the Nasir is going to be Gamliel ben Pedatsur from Bemidbar, chapter 7, verses 48 to 53. And he belongs to Chesed or Geburah. So now we finish with Chesed, with the part that is called Serampin and Nukba of Chesed, and we move into the Serampin and Nukba of Geburah. So we went from the right column, now we're going to the left column. And something very important is that the previous 6 months, starting with Nissan, are considered female months. And the reason they're considered female months is because these are the months in which the feminine aspect of creation, nature, Teva, right, give us sustenance, right? Now we are going to the darker months of the year, and they're considered to be male. Why? Because the male gifts to this female. So this is where we're gonna see that um, even though we're celebrating the harvest and all that during this female months, now we're going to be talking not only about harvest and everything, we're talking about now in introspection, uh, and try to see and study ourselves from within, because we find ourselves now in judgment. We find ourselves now in some kind of dire situation, which is a matter of life and death, right? Which is winter. And there's less food, there's less sustenance. So, what sustenance we need to concentrate? It's the sustenance from above, from the Creator. Okay? And this is why these months, when you study from the Kabbalistic point of view, it has to do about bringing down this light from Bina to Mahut, right? So it's very important, especially like the festival Sukkot has a lot of meanings there. It's not only like the celebrating the harvest or the last harvest and something like that, but it has to do with this connection with the upper and the lower and all that surround us. Okay, upper, lower, left, right, front, back. Okay, and we're gonna see that especially in Sukkot. And the attribute to this, is smell, right? Because Heseo Geburah, this is a day and a month that is associated with the balance between kindness and strength. It is a time to find the right balance in one's approach in life, right? You cannot be too good because you're feeding the Tuma, the evil forces. You cannot be too bad because you're feeding the evil forces. You have to be in the middle. And here the smell. Smell has to do with this last sense that we have left from the Garden of Eden, because all the other senses got corrupted except the sense of smell. Okay, it's according to Kabbalah, that's the only smell that we have left, and this is for the month of Cheshvan, which is Scorpio. Now, Kislev, which is Sagittarius, is a tribe of Benjamin. The name of God is Vav Yod Hey Hey. The month letters are gonna be Nun for Jupiter, and Sami for Sagittarius. Now, the Nasir is gonna be Avidan Ben Gidoni from Bemidbar, chapter 7, verses 60 to 66. Actually, I have a number. It's supposed to be Gimel. Okay, so I'm gonna fix that. These things, this whole presentation is gonna be in a PDF file, and I'm gonna correct that part. It's supposed to be a Gimel, Gimel Samek. So Geburah these days associated with the strength of overcome obstacles and challenges, and it is a time to tap into one's inner reserves of strength and courage. And the attribute for this month is sleep. And this is a month that it is already marking, the winter. So it's a time in which everything is asleep. And what is for us sleep? Sleep is basically 1/6 of prophecy, according to when you dream. It's a 1/6 of death as well, and when you dream, it's like a six of prophecy as well. So by sleeping, you can say that you're tasting death, but you're also tasting prophecy. Also, by sleeping was that Adam was when Adam was put to sleep, the creator was able to create a female counterpart from his rib, right? From his closer part of his heart. And that's what it means, from his rib. It doesn't necessarily mean a physical rib. It just means from where this other being was gonna come from. Now, sleep is very important because also means not only quietness, not only that everything is still, but also means rejuvenation. You are you're becoming anew again. So this is a time in which, yes, it's dark, but the light is gonna come out again. Yes, it's kind of like dead, but you're gonna wake up. So you need to know the difference between light and darkness in order to understand and choose between them. You need to understand the difference between death and life in order to understand the difference between both of them. So this is a time in which you need to concentrate and meditate on the contrast between these two opposing forces, especially in the winter, darkness, light. The same thing internally, spiritual path. We have darkness and light. We have emotional, psychological darkness, but also light, which comes from the spiritual. So this is a month to think, meditate about that. Then the month of Tevet, which is still in that realm of darkness. This month belongs to the tribe of Dan. The name of God is a Hey Yod Hey Vav. The month letters are gonna be the Bet for Saturn and the Ayin for Capricorn. The Nasir is gonna be Ahiezer ben Amishadai from Bemidbar chapter 7 verses 66 to 71, and it belongs to Tifaret of Geburah. This day is associated with the balance between strength and beauty, and it is a time to cultivate inner harmony and balance. And here we see that we need to meditate in anger. And we need to meditate on the concept of anger. Is anger something good or something bad? So, anger is something that is destructive when it comes to our spiritual path. And everyone, all of us, have at some time in our life feel angry about something. Every one of us need to keep this anger in check, because anger is a sign of being without light, being or vessel basically being empty of light. Anger is a sign of a dying vessel, a vessel that is disconnecting or disconnected already from the above, which is why this month is one of the darkest, right? And this is why we need to watch our anger, meditate on anger, and think about how can we correct this trait in our behavior. The month of Shevat is the tribe of Asher. The name of God is the Hey Yod Vav Hey, and the month letters are gonna be Bet for Saturn and Sadi for Aquarius. The Nasir is gonna be Pagiel ben Achran from Bemidbar chapter 7 verses 72 to 77, and we're going to meditate on the Netzach of Geburah. This day is associated with a victory that comes from inner strength and perseverance, and it is a time to overcome challenges on the spiritual path. And here we're going to be meditating on taste. So taste has to do with feeding ourselves, right? So we feed ourselves, remember, with sound, we feed ourselves with sight, we feed ourselves with smell, but we also feed ourselves with taste, right? Taste and see that the Lord is good. That's basically the secret behind this. Why I need to taste and see that the Lord is good, because this is two ways that we feed ourselves spiritually speaking, right? When you are drinking, when you are eating, it's basically you are drinking wisdom, chokmah, right? You are eating, that's bina. And the hearing, if you remember, we will do, and then we were here, in Mount Sinai, which is a mountain of hate, Sinat. So hearing has to do with that, and that has to do, with something that we need to correct in our basically in ourselves as well, but this is something that we have to do every day when we say the Shema Israel here, or Israel, right? But here the taste, taste and see that the Creator is good. Okay, and you need to concentrate on that, on tasting that. How do you taste that? You're gonna see this in Kabbalah. They talk about sweetening judgment. You sweeten something. Something is bitter. Now you're sweetening something with mercy. So this is what taste is all about. You need to taste it. If it is bitter judgment, or if it is sweet mercy. Okay, and the whole point here is to taste and see that the Creator is good. Adar, which is the last month. This is when we celebrate also Purim. Is the tribe of Naphtali. The name of God is Hey Hey Yod Vav. The month letters are gonna be Gimel for Jupiter and Pisces. Letter Kuf represents Pisces. The Nasir is gonna be Achirach ben Ayanan from Bemidbar, chapter 7, verses 78 to 83. What we're going to be concentrating is on Hod of Geburah. This day is associated with the humility and surrender that comes with facing challenges, and it is a time to let go of negative patterns and habits. And what we're going to be concentrating here is laughter, right? So why laughter? Why laughter? This means, that we're going to be laughing about everything that happened in our lives. It's not necessarily that. It just means, that you need to understand that we can plan, like they say, the Creator laughs about it, because at the end it's the Creator's will. But we can also, laugh about anything, good things, bad things. Why? Because at the end, we thought that everything was under our control. And some of it is. But everything is under the control of the Creator. And if we're going to be angry about it, we are going to be destroying ourselves. And in that sense, also destroying our world. But if we laugh about it, not in a form of making fun of something, just laughing means, accepting it and knowing that, hey, at the end is the Creator's will, and I need to let go of the anger. I need to let go of the questioning of why me, why this, why I never get this or that, and laugh about it. You will see, that things are gonna change. Put this into practice. Let's say you have a bad day and you feel angry. Let's say a coworker, a boss, family member, friend, and look at it really deep at the problems, and you're gonna see that the problem really is not that serious for us to be angry. And you're gonna see that when you really look deep into that problem, it's like I'm not gonna follow the program of the animal in me, right? The monkey in me, which is to be angry, be in the fight or flight. I'm gonna be in the state of the human level, the speaking level, in which I'm gonna see that the Creator is good. He meant good. He's using these people to do good to me, and I'm gonna surrender, and I'm gonna be basically humble about it, and laughter is gonna come up, but it's not a laughter making fun of what's happening. It's a laughter that is accepting and knowing, oh wow, what a game we're playing here with the Creator, right? It seems a serious game, and it is a serious game, but at the end, we're not in control of everything, okay? And this is what laughter is all about. And also remember, one of our mothers, when she was being visited by angels, when Abraham and Sarah were visited by angels, Sarah laughed when she heard, what the angel said about her having a baby, and she laughed about it like, really, how that can be possible, and basically the angel said that the Creator, nothing's impossible for the Creator, right? And asked her, why did you laugh? And that's the reason the baby was named Isaac, right? Laughter. So something to think about as well. Now, on the 13th day, this is when we are going to do a different meditation. In this day, we don't do the blessing for the Nasir. What we do is we're going to meditate or scan all these names in here, and you're gonna see, and here I have added not only the permutation of the Yohe Vahe, but also I have added the permutation for Ehye. So we're gonna meditate on all these at the same time. Then we're going to read the Ana Bekoach, and when we read the first verse, we're gonna concentrate on the first letters of each word. So in this case, for first verse, Ain Bet Sadi Bet. Second verse, Same Gimel Kuf Gimel. Third verse is gonna be Hey Dalet Nun Dalet, and so on and so forth. And this is what you're gonna be doing during that time. Then you're gonna scan the 72 names of God. There's a chart that has the 72 names of God, and you're going to read the Nasir. Okay, and the Nasir is represented in here by Moshe. And you're gonna read Bemidbar from chapter 7, verse 1, all the way to chapter 89, which has all the Nasirs. And why we're doing this on this day, right? Because this is Yesod of Geburah. These days associated with the foundation and connection that comes from inner strength and discipline, and it is a time to deepen one's connection to the divine and the spiritual realm. And this is Yesod. Yesod is where all these forces are gonna be funneled into, and from there is gonna go to our being. Our being means Malchut, okay? And that's the reason we don't have a Malchut here like we did in the previous month. I think, let me see, where was the Malchut? Malchut of Chesed. We have Malchut in Chesed. However, in Geburah, we don't have a Malchut, right? We have a Yesod. And we have a Yesod because Malchut is going to be us funneling all this from the beginning of Pesach all the way to the beginning of the new month of Nissan of the next year. Okay, so this is how you need to think about this. Okay, from here on, all these energies are gonna be nurtured. They're gonna be watered by our intention, and these seeds for each month are supposed to grow throughout the year. And we're gonna see that each month has a harvesting time, right? And these are the holidays that we're gonna be celebrating. And each month, for those of you who are interested, each month we're gonna start going through each of these a month before every Rosh Chodesh, and we're gonna talk about each month, their attributes, the power of each of these months, how we can tap to the light, and how we can use this light in each month in order to advance spiritually. So we started with Nissan. This is Nissan. We went over the 13 days. There's also Passover. And for Passover, there's a video that you can watch about the Kabbalah of Passover. Also, there's a video for the Sefirat HaOmer in which everything is explained as well. So make sure you look at the little flag up here where you're gonna see the video for or the link for each of the videos. And may you be blessed and enlightened and full of spiritual salvation, love, and connection to God. Na'ame buracha u'meura tilecha melayat geulin rucha anim ahava ve'kesher le'elohim. And I'll see you in the next video. Shalom, and thank you for watching. And remember to subscribe and also to like and share this video. Okay, this was just an overview, a very simple overview. There's much more that we can talk about, but it will take us probably like 3 hours, and just trying to squeeze a lot of information in 1 hour. Okay, so I'll see you next time. Shalom.